Thunder Dolphin at Tokyo Dome City is one of the coolest roller coasters in the world. This is an Intamin hypercoaster in the heart of downtown Tokyo. Most hypers focus on large camelbacks and airtime. This one instead is a city terrain coaster and lets the visuals do the talking as you fly over and through buildings. In this review, I will discuss why this one-of-a-kind ride should be on every coaster enthusiast's bucket list. Thunder Dolphin opened in 2003. It was placed in the La Croix section of the park, adjacent to the Tokyo Dome, one of the country's most famous baseball stadiums. The ride stands a whopping 262 feet, or 80 meters tall, making it the tallest coaster in the Tokyo metro area. This also makes it the world's 9th tallest roller coaster and Asia's 2nd tallest coaster as of this recording. Now it's a large ride, don't get me wrong, but it looks shorter than it really is in person because of the surroundings. Most hypercoasters dwarf everything around it. That is not the case with Thunder Dolphin. There are a handful of nearby buildings that are nearly twice as tall. Most prominently, the Bunkyo Civic Center and the Tokyo Dome Hotel are roughly 500 feet, or 152 meters tall. Even the quote-unquote smaller structures immediately next to Thunder Dolphin are still huge. There's the Tokyo Dome, which stands 184 feet, or 56 meters tall. Then the park itself is a shopping structure equally as tall as the Tokyo Dome, and the 197-foot, or 60-meter tall Big O Ferris wheel. This coaster still has an incredible presence. We've seen coasters built in the city before, but nothing on this scale. It is surreal seeing a hyper-scaling buildings. Thunder Dolphin travels atop that aforementioned shopping mall not once, but twice. Then it charges through a hole in that very building, and later pierces through the center of the Ferris wheel. If you are anywhere within the La Croix section, all eyes are drawn to this coaster whenever it cycles. The park knows this ride is a spectacle, and they capitalize on it. There's a large video screen at ground level that activates whenever the coaster dispatches. It displays the current height of the train as it navigates the lift hill. Then, a digital train races the actual train whenever it's nearby. The coaster itself is an industrial feel with its gray track and supports, but that matches the aesthetic of the surrounding buildings. It also allows the yellow and pink trains to really pop when they navigate the circuit. Those trains shine even brighter, quite literally at night. The sides of the trains are affixed with lights. If you get the opportunity, you absolutely want to ride this coaster after dark. It is a special night ride. It is magical cruising along the course with Tokyo's twinkling lights all around you. If you want to ride this coaster, the entrance is on the 3rd floor. You can either experience this attraction with the all-day wristband or pay per ride. The wristband costs 5,500 yen, or $38 US, while a single ride costs 1,500 yen, or $10 US. You enter under the ride's nice-looking logo. Where you queue depends upon the crowd levels. If crowds are light, you proceed directly into the main queue. At the end of the queue, the employees have you empty your pockets and put all your belongings in a bag. If you don't have a bag, they will give you a plastic bag to store everything. Employees then wand you with metal detectors. Once it's your turn to ride, you store your bags in free lockers on the opposite side of the station. If the park is busy, you will queue in a series of switchbacks outside the entrance. You then put your belongings in free lockers and pass through a metal detector, only then getting access to the official queue. It is a smart decision that the park moves the metal detection earlier in the process on busier days because it allows the coaster to load faster. Absolutely nothing can ride with you. This includes tissues and receipts in your pockets, watches, sometimes jewelry, and for those who are visually impaired, you cannot wear glasses, even with a safety strap. The latter was a major detriment for me in my initial visit to the park, because the coaster relies so heavily on visuals, and my vision is really bad without glasses. This ride was actually one of the driving factors for me to recently try contacts, and it was incredible being able to see everything clearly this time around. On that note, you may notice we were able to film on ride. That is not the norm, and that required very special permission. The park quite literally had to duct tape a GoPro to my hand to ensure it would not come loose. I have had good luck visiting this coaster on weekdays. I've never had to queue more than 1 or 2 trains. If you visit on weekends or holidays, expect to wait considerably longer. I have seen this coaster get 60 to 90 minute waits. If necessary, the park sells skip the line passes at a kiosk outside the attraction. These give you a 1-hour return window and cost 1,000 yen or $7 per person per ride. These often allow you to board the next train. The park has 2 trains, but they almost always operate with just one. The train is much shorter than other hypers, as it seats just 20 riders. It has just 5 cars with 2 rows of 2. With their current operational policies, they can cycle the train roughly 7 to 10 times per hour, meaning this coaster has an hourly capacity of approximately 140 to 200 riders. This is quite low for a hypercoaster, and it's why the ride can build up a sizable wait on busy days. The park will post the ride's current weight on the website. This will also allow you to know if the coaster is operating. You see, Thunder Dolphin will not run in any rain. Combined with those aforementioned visuals, this is a park you want to prioritize on a clear day. I have also heard some reports this coaster can close for wind, but I don't know the exact threshold that causes it to go down. In my recent trip, I witnessed the coaster operating with winds around 20 miles per hour. It is worth noting this was on a holiday during Golden Week, so they may have been extra motivated to keep it operational. It is also worth noting that Thunder Dolphin has slightly different hours than the rest of the park. This information is also on the website. It typically opens a half hour late. Then the coaster will close 20 to 30 minutes before its posted closing time, even if it has no queue. If it has a sizable wait, the queue will close even earlier. Keep this in mind if you're going for a night ride. The final thing to be cognizant of is that Tokyo Dome City operates year-round, so Thunder Dolphin will have to periodically close for maintenance. This is understandable and common with a lot of year-round parks. The 2 most common times of year for it to close is the winter in Q1 and mid-June. The latter is quite surprising in my opinion, but has happened the past few years, and it's scheduled to close once again during this time in 2025. There also could be a random day closure, which happened on the Wednesday after Golden Week for us, so definitely check the schedule in advance of your visit. The park posts the ride's availability 2 months out. The longest closure lasted 2.5 years from December 2010 to August 2013. A bolt unfortunately fell from the coaster and struck someone. Given how strict Japan treats any accident, there were certainly concerns this coaster may never operate again, but after a very thorough investigation, it reopened, and it has operated incident-free ever since reopening. Once you reach the station, you are assigned a row. Typically, they seat guests front to back, no exceptions. But at my recent visit on a quiet day, the attendant was actually taking row requests if you asked nicely. The front row is the best place to ride if you're lucky enough to get it. It is blissful feeling this ride's speed in full and having an unobstructed view on this visually special coaster. That being said, the coaster feels fast in any row, and the visuals are great anywhere. The forces are also fairly consistent across the train for the most part. The one exception is the first drop in the back row. However, it is worth noting there's a rattle there during the high G pullouts. This was most noticeable in the back row of the back few cars, meaning the issue was most prevalent in wheel seats, which is odd to see in a steel coaster. The coaster is still very tolerable for me, especially in the front seats of each car. but the shuffling can cause a minor headache if you're sensitive to a rattle. It wasn't always this way. For its first 2 decades of operation, the coaster operated with the traditional Intamin Hyper trains. These had the classic T-bar restraint found on rides like Millennium Force or Expedition G-Force. When I rode the coaster back in 2018 with these trains, it was super smooth, even in the very back row, which is what you'd expect with an Intamin Hyper. This ride also operated with a 6-car train back then. In 2023, the coaster received new trains. As noted earlier, these are interestingly 1 car shorter. These were built by Japanese manufacturer Hanwha Kogyo, but I believe Intamin had a major hand in the design process. The seats and restraints feel identical to their newer thrill coasters. Riders are secured by a seatbelt and overhead lap bar. The latter is extremely comfortable. Japan is very strict when it comes to safety, but I find it interesting that operators at their parks typically do not staple. That was the case with Thunder Dolphin as well. They would lower the lap bar just above the laps of riders. Guests are free to lower it further if they'd prefer. Another big change with the new trains are side shields. These are to address clearance issues. The 2 track sections atop the building run side by side. With the old trains, which had no side shields, it was possible for taller guests to actually touch the adjacent track. This is no longer possible. Once secured, an alarm sounds. A high-octane soundtrack then begins. Staff members then excitedly clap and urge guests to do the same. I love the energy of the ride crew. This gets everyone amped up for their ride. A catch car then engages the train and hoists you atop the lift hill. It is not as fast as the cable lift on Skyrush, but it still moves at a respectable clip, and you're at the top quite fast given the lift hill is angled at 45 degrees. The views on the way up are astounding. It is sensory overload seeing all the buildings around you, but my favorite view is if you look backwards at the Ferris wheel. That thing is a structural marvel. You then crest the top and are treated to a fantastic first drop. It is near vertical at 80 degrees. It feels more similar to the drops on B&M Hypers because it offers floater airtime versus the ejector airtime Intamin Hypers typically provide. Those in the front cars gracefully levitate from their seat. Those in the back cars get great sustained floater airtime. It is worth noting this drop does not use the ride's full height. It is 40 feet shorter at 218 feet, or 66 meters, because it stops atop some food stands. That is still plenty large though, and those incredible views are maintained the whole way down. The pullout is tight and treats riders to intense positive Gs. I believe this is where the ride hits its max 4.4 G-force. I grade out here in all my rides. You then have a large L-turn atop the shopping structure. The twist at the top offers weak laterals towards the front of the train. Those in back get a smidge of airtime instead, as you slightly drop down to the roof. Your senses also get a pleasant surprise. You get another astounding view, this time seeing Tokyo's Skytree in the distance. Then you also get the glorious aroma of a nearby meat restaurant. This is followed by a bunny hill. It is too gradual to offer airtime though. Instead, it just gives you more time to take in the sights. So this is not a deal breaker for me. You then twist upwards slightly and have a large swooping drop downwards. The descent has decent snap in the back, but the visuals once again reign supreme. You pass through a specially designed hole in the shopping structure. It is an incredible head chopper, one of the best of any coaster. It is a captivating moment to witness both on and off ride. The subsequent pullout takes place above the Wonder Drop flume, and offers good positive Gs. Next is a big overbank through the center of Big O. While the clearance envelope is much larger than the prior element, it is still undeniably cool to pass through the center of a Ferris wheel. This turn also holds its speed well and exerts solid positive Gs. Those continue on the following pullout. Thunder Dolphin then flies over a speed hill. This is brisk and offers really good floater airtime. It is the best spot for negative Gs in the ride, unless you're in the very back car for the initial drop. The train then climbs atop the shopping structure once again. The rightward turn at the top is sharp, so if you're up front, you get an okay pop of airtime and lateral kink simultaneously. Those further back miss the airtime, but they still get some weak laterals. Next is this coaster's most controversial moment, the trick track along the roof. Remember how that shopping structure is roughly 184 feet tall? Going back up here so late in the ride bleeds off a lot of speed. If you're looking for raw power, you are not going to get that here. However, this quirky moment is still fun for me. You undulate along the wavy roof. The weird banking gently shakes you side to side. At the same time, you can once again admire the sights. Honestly, the worst part about this for me is the smell. You pass a vent towards the end of this that smells like sewage. This ultimately leads to a banked drop over the side of the building. You narrowly avoid striking it. And this is another moment offering a nice snap in the back rows. It also rebuilds a ton of speed. While Thunder Dolphin would have enough momentum to continue, this unfortunately takes you directly into the brake run. You then smoothly decelerate. You then slowly return to the station to a triumphant tune and applause from the ride crew. This ends the 3,497 foot or 1,066 meter long experience. That is not a lot of track length for a hypercoaster. For reference, this coaster is quite close to Thorpe Park's Hyperia in terms of track length, and that ride is constantly blasted for being too short. However, the duration feels more satisfactory in Thunder Dolphin because of the wonky pacing. Parts of this coaster are blisteringly fast. Then the sections above the shopping structure are much slower than what you typically expect in a hyper, but this gives you more ride time. This part sort of reminds me of the quarry section in Iron Rattler, just with much milder forces. Again, this part is fun for me because of the sights, but it would have been nice if it had more oomph at the same time. So what would I rate Thunder Dolphin? I would give this coaster an 8 out of 10. This is a great ride and a really unique coaster. The placement 100% makes the ride. The way this coaster interacts with its surroundings essentially makes it a terrain coaster, which is a bizarre and super cool phenomenon in a city. The views this coaster offers are matched by very few rides. Then the layout, while weird, is enjoyable as well. It has a great drop, some high G pullouts, some speedy turns, and a wonderful speed hill. It just does not have the pacing or consistent intensity of the other Intamin hypers. This coaster has some tamer spots and a lesser focus on airtime. Still, this is the best coaster in all of Tokyo, and it should be on every coaster enthusiast's bucket list, especially if you place a high emphasis on setting and visuals. There isn't another ride quite like it out there. Those are my thoughts on Thunder Dolphin at Tokyo Dome City. What are your thoughts on this hypercoaster? Do you agree it's a special ride as well? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.